I am Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports, and we have a fun show on tap for everyone today. We got some news on Skylar Thompson. He is officially gone from the Miami Dolphins roster. Plus, Miami fired their special teams coordinator Danny Crossman over the weekend. Who are some options to replace him? That will be on the back half of today's video. But first, make sure you are helping us out here at Dolphins Today by sharing the episode by clicking share, selecting Twitter/X, click post to Twitter/X. If you post it on Twitter by sharing today's video and tag your boy at Nic_Rohloff, I will give you a like, retweet, and I will give you a shout out on a video later this week. Help spread the word of Dolphins Today as we attempt to continue to grow our family here at the channel. All right, the news of the day surrounding Miami, and in the offseason, there are not many days that there will be news, but here it is. Skylar Thompson, the former Miami Dolphins 7th-round pick and backup quarterback over the last 3 seasons, was signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers to a futures contract. What does that mean? Well, he's going to be on the 90-man preseason roster, right? Like, remember, you start at 90, you get dwindled down to 53. So Skylar Thompson will be with Pittsburgh in OTAs, in training camp in June and July. So he is officially gone from Miami. It's that simple. It's over. And we talked about 12 players that the Miami Dolphins signed to futures contracts last week. If you didn't see it, go back and watch the video. That's why you got to be subscribed. But with him signing a futures contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers today, the saga of Thompson in the 305 being Tua Tagovailoa's backup is no more. It's officially done. He will not be returning to this team. And this is someone that has been one of the most talked about backup quarterbacks maybe in all of football, just due to the fact that he's been called upon so often with Tua's injury history. He was a 7th-round pick out of Kansas State in 2022. He started 3 games in 3 seasons for the Miami Dolphins, and one of those starts was in the 2022 wild card game against the Buffalo Bills, where he actually almost won that game in Orchard Park. They just lost 34-31 in Mike McDaniel's first year as Dolphins head coach. This is someone who has plenty of experience in a Dolphins uniform, but also when you watch the games, you watch him operate. This is someone that Miami fans knew that was just not adequate enough to be the backup quarterback to Tua Tagovailoa, especially for a quarterback in Tua that is injured so often and is almost guaranteed to miss 2 or 3 games a year, it feels like. You need to have a more reliable backup behind him. And Skylar Thompson just simply is not that. You see his numbers on screen. Yeah, backup quarterbacks are backups for a reason, but there are plenty of guys out there that I would trust more, and I would probably say there's 25 backup quarterbacks that I would at least trust more than Skylar Thompson. This is not NFL caliber stuff. He's maybe a practice squad quarterback, which is why we've been clamoring for a real one in terms of being a backup to come to Miami, and now we don't have to worry about Skylar Thompson being that guy anymore. Chime in. Are you happy Skylar Thompson is officially gone from the Miami Dolphins and we no longer will be watching him in the preseason, in training camp, and anything anymore? Type Y if you are happy. Type N if you are not. I'm through the roof. I really am. And it's nothing against Skylar Thompson, even though I have said that he is not a starting or I guess a backup caliber quarterback in the league. I am happy that he latched on somewhere else, but Miami just simply has to address the quarterback situation in a more reliable and serious manner. Like, Chris Grier finally acknowledged that, and hopefully Grier isn't just talking out of his you-know-what, because he mentioned how they're going to have to address the offensive line this offseason and leave no stone unturned at the backup quarterback position. It's about time, Chris. It's only took you 8 years to try to do something like this. And if we're going to be honest when talking about the Dolphins' backup quarterback situation, it's on probably my top 5 lists of priorities. We talk about interior offensive line, safety, off-ball linebacker alongside Jordan Brooks, interior defensive line, and backup quarterback. They should be signing one in free agency, and they should be drafting one in the draft to try to be a developmental guy. The Dolphins have 10 projected picks when you include comp picks in 2025 late April. Use one of them on a quarterback. And I think there are some good options out there, both in the draft, in mid-rounds to late rounds, as well as free agency. Free agent quarterbacks, these are the top 10 in my eyes. Sam Darnold's going to get a bag. No, he played really bad over the last 2 weeks, but he is still going to get paid. There's some names I really like on here. Former Dolphin Jacoby Brissett could be an option. I'm a big fan of potentially bringing in Andy Dalton. Dalton has been linked to Miami in the past. The Dolphins had interest in trading for him in September and October of this past season, but the Panthers weren't interested in trading him away. If you could get Dalton for a 1-year, $4 million backup contract, I would be all in on that, and you pair that up with drafting someone on late day 2, early day 3 of the NFL draft, well, now we're cooking with gas. There's a lot of intriguing names in the draft as well. Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward are going to be drafted inside the first round, so you can eliminate those 2 players as potential backups in the 305. Miami is simply not going to use a first-round pick on a backup quarterback, and these 2 guys don't project as franchise-changing guys, in my opinion, anyway, so I'm staying away. But Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, 2 guys that, or in 3 people really, that catch my eye potentially in mid to late second. 3rd round pick potential to where I think they may be options for Miami long term. A Curtis Rourke, a Kyle McCord are more intriguing names on day 3 in rounds 4 or 5 potentially for the Miami Dolphins. There are going to be a lot of different avenues that Chris Grier can go. And I am just going to beg you, Grier, do this simple thing. I know you don't have a lot of cap space, Chris, but use some of it to sign a backup quarterback that you can trust if Tua goes down, and draft one in late round 3, early day 3, so rounds 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, to where you can have a developmental quarterback paired up with Tua and a legit veteran backup. That's all I'm asking. Please address the backup quarterback position, not only for this year behind Tua, but also for the foreseeable future. They tried to do that with Skylar. It didn't work out. That's fine. You're going to miss on 7th-round picks. If you hit on every 7th-round pick, you're probably the best GM of all time. But at least take another swing at it in the draft this year. And we'll get to the special teams coordinator stuff here in just a second. But we are sponsored by Game Time, the #1 way to get your tickets, whether you're going to a sporting event, concert, comedy show. Game Time is the best place and way to get your tickets. And they have so many great features that make purchasing tickets so easy. One of them being Game Time Picks. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy. So if you are going to a concert, you get to see exactly where your vantage point to the stage would be. If you're going to a sporting event, well, make sure there's no board or pole in your way while watching the sporting event. You can also get all-in pricing, another feature. Shows you the total price of your ticket up front rather than getting blindsided by fees at checkout. Game Time makes purchasing your tickets the absolute easiest experience, and boy, do I love easy. So download the app today and use code CHATSPORTS when creating an account to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. First purchase only, but use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off your first purchase. Shout out to Game Time. What time is it? It is game time. All right, let's transition from backup quarterback Skylar Thompson talk to special teams coordinator rumors, because we know that Miami fired Danny Crossman after the season this past weekend, and rightfully so. This is one of the things that needed improvement on this Dolphins team, on this roster the most. And I don't think it's a lack of talent, because if we're going to be honest, it's very hard to make the case that being a good special teams unit is because of talent. Now, you could say that for punting and kicking, but when it comes to kick returns, kick coverage, punt returns, punt coverage, that's more about schemes and being coached the right way. And the Dolphins, according to Pro Football Focus, were the 2nd worst special teams unit in the entire NFL with a 58.7 grade. The only team worse than the Miami Dolphins, well, it was actually the Green Bay Packers. They were ranked 32nd. So who are some special team coordinator options? Yeah, we're getting into the weeds. And I saw someone post an article on this as well. We took some inspiration, but some of these guys I was already willing to talk about as well. One of them being Jeremy Springer from the New England Patriots. He is the current special teams coordinator for New England. He was the assistant special teams coordinator for the Rams in 2022 and 2023 before becoming the full-time lead guy in New England this past year. And the Patriots were, for better or for worse, I mean, they were a bad football team, folks. There's no debating that. But they were actually the 2nd highest graded special teams unit this past year at 90.3. And that is a drastic improvement. And it goes on to Springer. Why? The year prior, their special teams coordinator was Cam Accord. They were the worst ranked special teams unit. So they went from worst to second best under Jeremy Springer in 1 year. That is good coaching. And you might ask yourself, well, if that's the case, why would he go from from New England to Miami in a lateral move? He's already a special teams coordinator. Well, my question is, will Mike Vrabel retain Springer? He's obviously the new head coach for the New England Patriots. And when these new coaches come in, they like to have their guys fill out their staff. And maybe he'll acknowledge Springer and be like, oh, you were really good last year. If you'd like to stay on and work underneath me, we'd love to have you. Maybe that is the case. But there's also a chance that Springer is let go and Vrabel brings in his own guy that he trusts to be the special teams coordinator, because Vrabel does put a very high precedent and importance on special teams. So maybe Springer gets let go, and if he's on the open market, he'd be my number one guy for the Miami Dolphins. Make sure you are subscribed, because we will update you on all Miami Dolphins news. And who else is up here making Dolphins YouTube videos on special teams coordinator coaching candidates and rumors? Don't think many people. So hit that sub button and join the channel, because we're going to have you covered all offseason long. Let's go to another candidate here, Ben Jacobs, who's currently with the Cincinnati Bengals organization. This is an intriguing name because he is someone who could be hired right now, if you're asking me, because he does not currently hold a special teams coordinator job. He is the assistant special teams coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. He has a lot of experience as a player on special teams. He played 6 NFL seasons spanning across the Carolina Panthers and Cleveland Browns as a linebacker, but the reason why he played 6 years, well, is because he made a name for himself on special teams. And although he wasn't the main guy, he was a part of the number 1 ranked special teams unit in all of football, the Cincinnati Bengals. They were ranked number 1. So if he is going to be working inside a system that is the best special teams unit in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus, and he's willing to take an upgrade in position and an upgrade in living from Cincinnati to Miami, why wouldn't he fill that vacancy left by Danny Crossman and join us in the 305? I'm a big fan of Ben Jacobs. He's probably the number 2 guy on my list behind Jeremy Springer, because I think what Springer did, taking the worst up to second best, is just unparalleled. But Jacobs is a great option who could be hired right now, because it would be a promotion and not a lateral move. Final name we're going to talk about today, Heath Farwell, Jacksonville Jaguars. He, like Springer, is the current special teams coordinator for his respective team. And he has been a special teams coordinator for a very long time, actually the last 6 seasons. He's been in Jacksonville for the last 3 under Doug Peterson, but was also the special teams coordinator for the Buffalo Bills in the previous 3 seasons to Jacksonville from 2019, 2020, and 2021. And like the other 2 candidates, was a part of a group this past season that excelled at special teams. The Jaguars were ranked 4th in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus, behind the Patriots, behind the Bengals, ranked 89.0 overall. Farwell was very good leading that Jaguars team. Another team that was not good this season in terms of winning, but their special teams unit got a lot of work and they excelled. And the question that I will have, and you will ask this like Springer, well, why would he leave Jacksonville in a lateral move? Well, the Jags do have a head coaching vacancy. They're performing a coaching search right now. I don't know who they will hire, but whoever the Jacksonville Jaguars hire as their next head coach, will they want to keep and retain Farwell? It's very similar to the Vrabel, Jeremy Springer situation. Some guys may want to bring in their own dudes that they know and trust. Now, with a new head coach that could potentially go to Jacksonville, if it's a first-time head coach like a Ben Johnson, maybe he will value the experience that Farwell brings to the table. But if it's a experienced head coach like a Robert Saleh or a different name out there, maybe they want to bring in their own guy that they trust. So, after I just went through 3 of the top candidates, in my opinion, that could be the next special teams coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, which name is the most intriguing to you? JS for Jeremy Springer, BJ for Ben Jacobs, or Heath Farwell? Type those HFs. And that will do it for today's episode. And before we hang out and head out of today's show, make sure you do help us out by sharing this episode. We're trying to spread the word of Dolphins Today and grow this channel larger and larger and hopefully get to 100K subscribers at some point. Well, the best way to do that, sharing our content to friends, family members, and on social media so we reach new people to come join us here at Dolphins Today. So help us out by doing that.